We'll continue our studies on stem cells. Here we'll see types of stem cells. The types of stem cells are being done based on where they are actually present, the source where they are present. Like embryonic stem cells, adult stem cells, which are also called as somatic or tissue specific stem cells, induced pluripotent stem cells, perinatal stem cells, and mesenchymal stem cells. We'll study in detail of all these stem cells in the further slides. We'll see what is embryonic stem cells. These embryonic stem cells, these are the group of cells that are present in the inner cell mass of the embryo. Here you can see that this is the embryo. In the inner cell mass, this is the inner cell mass of the embryo where the embryonic stem cells are present. These are developed at a stage called as blastocyst stage. How does this occur? When the sperm cells meet or they fertilize the egg cells, after the fertilization, this embryo undergoes a complete division of the cells where many of the cells are formed inside the embryos, and these at a stage of day 5 they enter a blastocyst stage where the inner cell mass, which is called as a embryonic stem cells, are formed. These undergo a differentiation so that many different kinds of cells of the body are formed by these embryonic stem cells. They have the capacity to be grown in a petri plate in an in vitro condition. Okay, and these embryonic stem cells, when they are present in the gonadal region of the animal, they undergo a several differentiation where they form a male and female gametes. So when they are present in the gonadal region of the animals, they act as embryonic stem cells, and these embryonic stem cells in the gonadal region, they undergo a differentiation to form a male as well as a female gametes. This is a pictorial representation of a stem cell culture. This is a blastocyst stage of an embryo where they contain an inner cell mass, which is a embryonic stem cells. Here you can see a pictorial representation of a human embryonic stem cells. How do they differentiate? Like this is a embryo where the cells in the inside the embryo are dividing, where this is a blastocyst stage, and the inner cell mass undergoes a division and they form a pluripotent cells. This pluripotent means they have the capacity to form any of the different types of cells. Here they undergo a different layers like ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm, and germ cells. So when they are when they are present in ectoderm layer, they form a neuron cells and a pigment cells. When they are in a mesoderm layer, they form a muscle cells, blood cells, and kidney cells. And in an endoderm layer, they form a beta cells, lung cells, pancreatic cells. And in a germ line, they differentiate to form a egg as well as a sperm cell. Adult stem cells, these are also called as somatic or tissue specific stem cells because they are present in certain tissue where there is a continuous division of cells. For example, the blood, skin, and the gut cells, there will be a continuous division of the cells there. These adult stem cells are present, and these stem cells, that is adult stem cells, are also present in specific tissues where there is a requirement of repair of this tissue. Assume that there is a liver tissue where there is a damage of the liver cells. During that time, for the production of more and more amount of cells, these adult stem cells activate there, and these are found both in children as well as in adult also. And these tissues, I mean these cells are present in the lining of the intestine. When these cells are present in the epidermis layer of the skin where there is a keratinokinesis takes place, during that time these cells are being present. And adult stem cells, they are present in the bone marrow. Here you can see a bone marrow where there will be a production of blood cells. These adult stem cells helps in the production of blood cells because there is a continuous requirement of the blood. During that time also adult stem cells help to produce the blood, and these are also present in the nervous system, in the neurons production, neuron cell production, and also in the fat cells. Okay, this is the pictorial representation. And one more animation, here you can see the adult cells, adult tissue specific somatics, adult tissue specific stem cells. Here you can see the tissue specificity where they can form only a few types of cell, that is either a muscle, skin, liver, nerve, blood cells, but not as a embryonic stem cells where they form a complete different types, 200 different types of cells. Okay, these form only a few types, whereas embryonic stem cells form many types of cells in the body. Perinatal stem cells are those stem cells which has the property of both the adult stem cells as well as the embryonic stem cells, and these are derived from the extra embryonic cells like umbilical cord, amniotic fluid, and then the placenta. These are being collected from there, and these cells are active, non-tumorogenic, and these have a potency to differentiate into cells of endothelium, and even the neural cells are being formed by these perinatal stem cells. Perinatal stem cells have reached the therapeutic application in the treatment for renal disease, cardiac disease, inflammatory disease, bone regeneration, and also for the treatment of spinal cord injury. Perinatal stem cells are being used. So here you can see a picture where there is umbilical cord, blood, and then amniotic fluid and placenta. From here the liquid has been collected and these are being prepared for the isolation, and after that the sorting means differentiating whether it is a hemopoietic stem cells or muscle stem cells. They are differentiated in the in vitro condition to grow, and this can be used for the tissue transplantation technique. And the another application of this perinatal stem cells is that it is used in the renal disease, cardiac disease, inflammatory disease, bone regeneration, and also for the treatment of spinal cord. All these things, these perinatal stem cells are very much helpful. Let's see what are mesenchymal stem cells. Mesenchymal stem cells are the type of the adult stem cells or the somatic stem cells. These are found in the tissues like bone marrow, liver, as well as in the tissue like muscles. And these human mesenchymal stem cells, they have a capacity to differentiate in the mesodermal line in the following types like epithelial cells, chronodocytes, monocytes, respiratory cells, cardiac cells in heart tissue, and hepatocytes in liver, and enterocytes in intestine, neurons, osteocytes, adipocytes, and epithelial cells in skin. All these types are differentiated by the mesenchymal stem cells, and they are present also in the bone marrow, and it should not be confused with the hemopoietic stem cells, because hemopoietic stem cells, they produce a blood cells, whereas the mesenchymal stem cells, they produce a chronodocytes.